Izzy here from Digital Goja. Today I'd like to go over a frequently asked question about the Olympus Pen-F. If this video helps you out, remember to hit me up with a like button underneath and subscribe to our channel. Hey, and when in Miami, come visit me at Digital Goja showrooms. Alright, so now what we're going to do is we're going to take a look at the actual dials and controls on the Olympus Pen-F. So this is basically what you would receive in your instruction manual, and we're going to go what these individual dials and controls do for your camera. Number one, we're going to take a look at the mode dial lock, and this is a really awesome feature. I would wish that some other camera manufacturers would think of this, because this allows you to set your particular mode and then lock it in place. That way you don't change it inadvertently when you're using the camera. And of course, this is the mode dial. Notice how this is where you're going to set your different modes, whether you want to work on different custom settings, you want to do video, your intelligent auto, and of course your PASM settings. And you lock it in place, it stays perfectly there. Now we have the rear dial. This guy is allowing you to change certain custom functions and settings on your Pen-F, and you toggle it left and right. Then on the side here, this guy is what is called an exposure compensation dial, and notice how it has settings starting with 0, and you can do quarter, stop, all the way up to +3, and as you turn it the other way, and again, these have indentation and they lock in place. You can go all the way over to -3. Your next one is very popular in today's world, of course, is your movie dial. When you press this, that activates your movie shooting, and when you press it again, it deactivates your video recording. Now, right to the left of that, this is your shutter button. Again, all these guys are very well constructed. This is all metal. And notice one thing, that to maintain that retro design in the Olympus Pen-F, we have a mechanical shutter release port. I mean, this is from in the days gone by where you can actually use a mechanical plunger to release your camera for self-timer or long exposures. That's called the cable release connector. Now, this in front right here is what is called your front dial, and this again is yet another command dial that you have access to change different settings on your Pen-F and different functions. Now, the one all the way in the front here, this is the one that was a little bit controversial when the camera first came out and people were saying, oh, this tends to be in the way. Honestly, I think it's perfectly placed. This is what is called your creative dial. And this is where I can actually set different color and art filters, whether I want to shoot in mono or in particular filtration systems that are built into the camera, and it has a toggle where it locks in place. Again, also metal, very well constructed. It feels really nice to the hand. Then right below here, this is your, on this side, and it's covered in that leather design. This is your lens release button. So when you depress this, you now have the capability of removing your lens, and it locks it back in place. So you depress it to remove it, and then you line it up and it locks it back in place. Now, this button over here is something that had disappeared for a while in most digital cameras. This is what is called a preview button, and it's basically a depth of field preview button. So when you depress this, the camera will actually stop down and show you in the live view or in even your electronic viewfinder how much depth of field you have in the image depending on your settings currently on the camera. And on the top over here, we have our stereo microphone, because remember, it does have a built-in mic system, and that's what these two little ports up here are, so that it does record in stereo. And then, very important button, and again, there was controversial. They said it was too far. I honestly like it because it allows me to just do it with a flip. This is your on-off button. So it makes it really simple to turn your camera on and off. it doesn't turn very easily, so it's not something that you're going to be turning on and off by accident. And then right here is your self timer and illuminator, AF illuminator lamp. So when you have your Pen-F set to self timer, this guy will depict it by blinking. And when you're working in lower light situations, this is where the AF beam will be used. On this side over here is your speaker. So when you want to listen to any audio that you've recorded on your Pen-F, this is actually the speaker system right here, these three little ports on the side. And then since we're on this side, this is your strap eyelet. This is the way that you're going to be able to connect a strap, especially the conventional one that it comes with, or even some optional straps that are on the market. And it is a very conventional design with the plastic protector here, so you don't have any brazing or scratching of the body due to the fact that it is metal. And we already spoke about the lens release button, but I'm going to show you something here which is on the actual body. And this is the lens lock pin. So notice when I depress the lens release button, this is what actually holds the lens in place. So that when you go to line up a lens to connect it, the Olympus lenses are usually going to have this little red dot, which will line up to the red dot on the camera body. So that way you align it and then you turn it to lock it in place. So they made it nice and simple to be able to easily do it. As a matter of fact, it's indented, so even if it's in a dark situation in very low light, you can feel your way on how to connect your lens correctly. Oh, and last but not least, here is your flash connector hot shoe. And it's a standard hot shoe, so that means you can work with many different flashes that are on the market. It will slide on in place, and they give you a really nice hot shoe protector, which you want to put somewhere because this is very simple. I've already lost 3 of these. And of course, this is where you will also put the flash that's incorporated with the camera, which is the FL-LM3. It'll mount on here perfectly, but it does give you the option of working with other flashes. And notice this icon here, that's where it basically, this is from the days gone by of film. This is where you would see your film playing, which now is where your sensor is. That's basically telling you that your sensor is lined up from here on. And there you have it. This is all the controls on the top of our Olympus Pen-F. Now we're going to go and proceed in looking at the rear dials and controls. All right, so now we're going to take a look at the back or the rear of our Olympus Pen-F and see what all this means. So first of all, we have the viewfinder, all right, which is this area right here. This is where you're going to put your eye up to the electronic viewfinder, and it also has an eye sensor in here. So what that means is when you put your eye up to it, it's the proximity sensor automatically shuts off the rear LCD. So that's all incorporated here. And you also have your viewfinder eye cup, and this is rubberized. It's pretty much attached on here. It doesn't seem to be a removable piece, so it's built into the frame, but it's very well constructed. It's like a hard rubber that's going to give you the added protection and benefit of covering any excess light. And right here is your diopter. So if you wear glasses, the beauty of it is that you can actually adjust it to your particular glass setting. So if you wear eyeglasses or readers, this is the way to adjust it so you don't have to keep taking them on and off to be able to work with your viewfinder. That's your diopter adjustment dial. Right next to it, this is what is called your live view button, and here's where you can actually depress it and change whether you want the camera to have live view constantly, or you can switch back and forth between electronic viewfinder or set it to the proximity sensor. It also doubles as a function number 2 button, which allows you to set it to whatever purpose you desire. Here, this is an actual toggle lever that allows you to look at your parameters when it comes to histogram and leveling systems, and you can toggle that back and forth, left and right. Then right on the end over here, this guy is your function number 1 button, which is also programmable, and this is going to allow you to set particular features that you want this button to do for you. Then right over here on this side, this has been around for quite a while, that's your magnification button. So this is when you are viewing on live view or on playback mode, this is how it allows you to magnify your image. Right below that, over here to the right, is our info button, and as you press this, it activates different information on the screen. So if I want to change whatever info is being shown, notice how as I press it, it either adds more information or removes it altogether. And then of course, right to your left, this is your menu button. And this is the one that allows you to access your entire menu and be able to go through it and pick whatever options you want to change or preset on the camera. That's your menu button. Now, right here, this is your arrow pad. And notice how when you are in the menu, you can toggle between the different folders and settings by using the arrow pad, and you can move it to the right or to the left and up and down. Now, the arrow pad itself, when the menu button is not activated, also allows you to do your settings, and you notice that they are indicated here with particular icons, and it shows you where you have for your ISO and white balance, your focusing points, your flash override, and your shooting mode, whether you want continuous, self-timer, and so forth. Plus right in the middle is your OK button, and this is the one that we use to activate the super panel for the super menu, or you can also click on it to activate the particular setting that you want to lock in place. And to the right is the very popular, and that's why it's indicated in blue, this is your playback mode. So when you depress this button, that activates playback of your images, whether they're stills or video. And then the very important little trash can, this is the way to delete your images if you want to delete videos or stills individually, or you can do them in groups or clusters. And of course, last but not least, the touchscreen 3.2-inch panel that allows you to disengage it. It swivels. So notice how I can swivel it to the left and I can angle it depending on the view that I prefer. And of course, remember, this is your touchscreen also, so you can go ahead and do focusing point adjustments or particular settings with the touchscreen. You can even use it to actually incorporate it as your shutter. And it closes up, so it gives you that beautiful leather backing, and it gives you the safety of the protection. Now we're going to go to the side, and right here is your cover to access your HDMI and your USB AV out. USB port right on the top and micro HDMI port right on the bottom. And it has a little hinge, so it locks it in place. Remember, it's not weather sealed, but it's very well constructed, so it protects it nicely there. And then underneath, last but not least, here we have our 1/4-20 tripod thread. This is where you're going to be able to attach your Pen-F to a tripod, to rigs, to anything that has a 1/4-20 thread. And here is the lever that releases and opens up the battery door, where we have your battery port, which is held in place by this little red connector, and of course your SD card slot. So it has a spring-loaded feature, so when you press down, that locks it in place. And there you have it. This is the bottom, side, and front and top of your Olympus Pen-F camera. Well, I hope I answered your question about the Olympus Pen-F. And if I didn't, leave your question below in the comment section, and I'll be happy to get to it to answer it for you. And don't forget to share this video with fellow videographers and photographers. Happy shooting.